Get this fat translator out." Victor sneered in Russian. Certain Clara understood nothing. Dante gave one cold nod toward the door. Clara picked up the bilingual contract. But instead of leaving, she corrected a single Siberian verb. His guests had deliberately mistranslated. "This doesn't say surrender," she said. "It says execute." The guards locked the VIP room. Victor went pale. Then Clara found the same verb beside, Dante's name, and a time less than 20 minutes away. Her fingertip remained on the line. Dante did not reach for the contract. He watched Victor instead. That told Clara more than shouting would have. The Russian businessman had spent the last 40 minutes treating her as decoration that had somehow wandered into a negotiation. Now his right hand had disappeared beneath the edge of the table. "Hands where I can. See them," Dante said. Victor smiled. His hand stayed hidden. One of Dante's guards crossed the room and caught Victor's wrist before it moved another inch. A slim black phone dropped onto the polished table. Clara looked at the screen. A countdown was running. 19 minutes. 12 seconds. Victor's smile disappeared. Dante finally looked at Clara. Read the whole line. She hated that her first impulse was to obey him. Less than a minute earlier, he had looked at a woman he had hired for her expertise and decided her dignity was cheaper than an uncomfortable negotiation. He had not laughed when Victor insulted her. Somehow, that had made his nod worse. Clara pushed the feeling aside. There would be time to be angry if they survived the next 19 minutes. She bent over the contract. The English column described a surrender of disputed shipping access after a scheduled transfer. It sounded unpleasant, but ordinary, for men who negotiated territory with armed guards standing behind them. The Russian column was different. Not dramatically different. That was the point. A careless translator could miss it. A competent translator from Moscow might even hesitate. Clara had heard the word before she had ever seen it written. Her graduate advisor had collected regional prison slang, the way other professors collected antique maps. And Clara had spent 2 years helping him catalog recordings from Siberian labor settlements. The verb did not mean surrender. In that construction, it meant to remove someone permanently, to finish them, to execute them. And beside Dante's surname sat a time notation matching the countdown on Victor's phone. Clara straightened. The English version is bait. Dante's gaze shifted to the page. Plain English. You were supposed to sign this and believe you had 20 minutes before the transfer became effective. She tapped the Russian text. But the Russian version gives someone 20 minutes to complete an elimination. Mine. I can't prove that yet. Victor laughed once. Because there is nothing to prove. Clara turned toward him. His English had been polished all evening. His Russian was even better. Educated enough to hide where he had grown up. But fear had changed his vowels. You knew what that verb meant, she said. So did you. Apparently. That wasn't my question. I don't remember hearing one. Clara picked up his phone. The guard beside Victor glanced toward Dante. Waiting for permission. Dante Gavinon. For the first time that evening. Nobody stopped Clara. The countdown had fallen below 18 minutes. She did not touch the screen. What happens when this reaches 0? Victor leaned back. Perhaps your employer should have considered that before insulting his guests. Clara almost laughed at the hypocrisy. Instead, she looked at Dante. He wants you focused on him. Dante's expression did not change. Why? Because whatever that timer controls probably isn't in this room. That changed him. Not visibly enough for Victor to notice. Perhaps, Clara noticed. Dante's attention moved from the phone to the two doors, then to the mirrored wall behind the Russians. He was no longer conducting a negotiation. He was calculating distance. The guard, he said. The guard nearest the door touched his earpiece. Dante never looked away from Victor. Nobody enters or leaves the building. Check the garage, kitchen, access, service elevators, and my vehicle. Quietly, Clara looked down at the contract again. Wait. The guard stopped. She read the line a second time, then a third. The verb was not the only problem. There was a preposition attached to the location phrase. The English translation rendered it as at delivery. That was defensible in isolation. Here, it meant something closer to upon arrival. Arrival of whom Clara scanned the preceding sentence. A shipment number appeared in both columns. No second mystery. Same instruction, same operation. The target may not be Dante. Every face turned toward her. Victor's did not. That was the answer before he spoke. Clara felt the pieces align. Someone is arriving, she said. Dante stepped closer. Who I don't know. Then find out. His command struck the same nerve as his earlier nod. Clara closed the contract. No. The word landed harder than she expected. Dante stared at her. Victor stared too. But with growing amusement. Clara handed the contract toward Dante. You wanted me out. I'm out. Clara. It was the first time Dante had used her name all evening. She wished it meant less. You hired me because your regular interpreter called in sick, she said. I told your attorney before this meeting that the Russian draft contained regional language. I wanted time to verify. I was told there was no time. Then, your guest insulted me, and you decided keeping him comfortable mattered more than keeping your interpreter in the room. Dante accepted the contract. You're right. Victor's amusement vanished. Clara had expected an order. Perhaps a threat disguised as necessity. She had not expected agreement. Dante continued. I made the wrong decision. The countdown reached 16 minutes. Clara looked at it. His apology did not erase what he had done. The timer did not care. Dante set the contract back in front of her, but he did not push it into her hands. Tell me what you need. A choice. Not permission. Not quite respect yet, but a choice. Clara looked at Victor. I need him to stop talking. Dante pulled out the chair beside him. Done. I need the original digital file. You'll have it. And nobody touches that phone. Victor spoke in Russian. The cow finally learned to give orders. Dante moved. Clara caught his sleeve before he reached the other side of the table. The room stopped with him. She released the fabric immediately. Don't. His eyes lowered briefly to her hand, then returned to her face. He's trying to make you angry. He succeeded. That doesn't make it useful. For one long second, Clara wondered whether she had just crossed a line. Men around Dante survived by never approaching. Then he stepped back. The guard, he said. If Victor speaks without being asked a question, remove him from the table. Victor's mouth tightened. Clara reopened the contract. That was better. She worked from the Russian text alone now, ignoring the English column because it had been designed to guide her toward the wrong assumptions. The first page concerned port access. The second described container transfers. The third established what appeared to be a temporary ceasefire. The fourth page changed register. Clara stopped. Legal. Russian had a rhythm. Repetition was deliberate. Terms stayed stable because ambiguity created lawsuits. Or in rooms like this one, bodies. But halfway down the fourth page, the writer had stopped sounding like a lawyer. The sentence became personal. Regional. Operational. She read it aloud in English. Upon the marked arrival, the designated party will be removed before receipt is acknowledged. Dante stood behind her now, close enough that she could feel his presence without seeing him. Marked arrival. That's literal. I don't think it means a shipment. What does it mean? I need context. The timer showed 14 minutes. Dante's phone vibrated. He answered immediately. The guard listened through his earpiece at the same time, his face hardening. Dante said, "Speak." A voice answered loudly enough for Clara to hear. Only fragments. Garage clear. Vehicle clear. Service floors clear. Then another phrase. Airport detail. Dante's gaze sharpened. What? Airport detail. Silence on the other end. Dante looked toward the guard. The guard was already checking his own phone. There's a pickup scheduled, he said. Private terminal. Private terminal. One of ours. For whom the guard hesitated. That hesitation frightened Clara more than the gun beneath his jacket. Your sister. Dante went perfectly still. Victor closed his eyes. Only for a second. Clara saw it. There. Dante turned toward her. He reacted to that. Victor opened his eyes again. To what Clara ignored him. Your sister is arriving within 14 minutes. Her plane landed early. Was that public? No. Who knew? Dante's answer came too slowly. My security team. And whoever prepared this contract. Clara pointed to the phrase she had translated. Marked arrival. Designated party. Before receipt is acknowledged. The language was intentionally indirect. But it no longer floated without context. Someone had expected a specific arrival. Someone knew the timing. And Victor had reacted when Dante's sister was named. Clara looked at the countdown. 13 minutes. 28 seconds. This is the first thing we can actually test. Dante understood immediately. He lifted his phone. Call the airport team. Do not say her name. Tell them to move the arriving passenger away from the pickup vehicle and inside the terminal. Use airport security. Not us. The guard relayed the order. Victor pushed back from the table. The guard behind him forced the chair down. You are making a mistake. Victor said. Clara looked at him. You were told not to speak. His gaze settled on her with such concentrated hatred that the insult from minutes earlier suddenly seemed childish. You think knowing words makes you intelligent? No. She held up the contract. Knowing when someone chose the wrong one does. Dante's phone rang. He answered. Nobody in the room moved. Clara watched the timer. 12 minutes. 51 seconds. Dante listened. His face revealed nothing until he asked. Where another pause. Then he looked directly at Clara. Under the pickup vehicle. Victor stopped breathing for half a beat. Dante said into the phone. Do not touch it. Clear the area. Keep my sister inside. He ended the call. Clara waited. What did they find? A device. The room seemed to shrink around the word. Explosive. They. I don't know yet. Then we still don't know what the timer means. No. But they knew something they had not known 5 minutes earlier. The contract was not merely mistranslated. Its Russian wording corresponded to a real operation already in motion. Aimed at an arrival Victor had no legitimate reason to know about. The harmless business explanation was dead. Clara had been right, and being right had just made her dangerous. Dante turned to Victor. You came into my building with a document describing an attack on my family. Victor recovered enough to smile. Your translator has an imagination. Dante placed both palms on the table. No, she has evidence. Clara noticed the distinction. So did Victor. The Russian switched languages again. His voice soft. You should have let them throw you out. Woman. Clara answered him in the same dialect. You should have chosen a verb you actually understood. For the first time, Victor looked afraid of her. Not Dante. Here. Clara looked at the contract again. One central operation. One countdown. But perhaps the vehicle was not the end point. Perhaps it was the proof designed to make Dante move his sister. Where are they taking her? Clara asked. Dante turned. Inside the terminal. Where exactly, I don't know. Find out. The guard made the call. Victor began laughing. Quietly. Dante reached for him. Clara stood. Don't give him what he wants. Dante stopped. She pointed to the contract. The instruction says, before receipt is acknowledged. If the vehicle were the whole plan, why mention receipt? Dante looked down at the line. Receipt of what? That's what we're missing. The guard spoke from beside the door. They moved her to a private security lounge. Clara asked, who ordered that location? The airport detail. Which member the guards checked? His expression changed. Dante saw it. Who, Rossi? Dante knew the name. Clara could tell, because his face lost what little warmth it had possessed. Get her out of that lounge. The guard relayed the command. No response came. He tried again. Nothing. The countdown passed 9 minutes. Victor's laughter stopped. Clara heard something else. A vibration. Not Dante's phone. Not the guards. It came from the table. Victor's black phone lit beneath her hand. A message appeared above the countdown. The text was Russian. Only 3 words. Переводчица всё поняла. Clara read them once. Then she wished she had not. Dante saw her expression. What? She translated. The translator understood everything. Nobody spoke. The message had not been sent before the meeting. It had arrived now. Someone outside this locked room knew what Clara had done. Victor smiled at her. This time there was no mockery in it. Only certainty. Clara looked at the locked door, then at the mirrored wall, and finally at the contract that had turned her from an unwanted employee into the only person in the room who could read the enemy's intentions. The timer dropped below 8 minutes. Dante took the phone from the table without touching the screen. Who sent that? Victor said nothing. Clara answered instead. Someone who can see us. Dante's gaze moved to the mirror. The guard drew his weapon. Clara shook her head. Not necessarily from here. Victor's people knew when your sister landed. They knew where your security team would take her. Now they know I translated the clause. She looked at Dante. You don't have an outside security problem. His expression hardened. You think it's one of mine? I think the contract just proved somebody on your side is feeding them information. Victor spoke softly in English. And now they know her face. Dante crossed the distance so quickly, the guard behind Victor barely moved in time. His fist closed around Victor's collar, dragging him halfway across the table. Say that again. Victor smiled through the pressure. At his throat, Clara saw the trap. Dante. He did not release him. Dante. Look at the timer. 7 minutes. Victor wanted Dante angry. He wanted time wasted in this room. Clara stepped closer. If you hurt him now, he becomes the only thing you can think about. We need the person outside. Dante stared at Victor another second. Then he let go. That choice mattered. Clara knew it cost him. Dante turned to the guard. Cut every internal camera feed to this floor. Change the airport extraction. Nobody who knew the original plan gets the new location. The guard nodded. Dante added, Clara chooses the route. She looked at him. You're serious. You saw the leak before I did. That was not an apology. It was something harder for a man like Dante to give. Authority. Clara took the guard's phone. Show me the terminal map. He did. She studied it for 10 seconds. Don't use another private room. That's predictable. Move her into the public arrivals area, with airport police. Lots of witnesses. Multiple exits. No one from your organization within 20 feet until we identify the leak. Dante did not argue. Do it. The guard relayed every word. Clara returned to the contract. 6 minutes. 12 seconds. She needed one more answer. Why? 20 minutes. Why a contract? Why make the threat legible at all? A genuine assassination order did not need to sit inside a bilingual business agreement, unless the document had another purpose. She examined the signatures. Dante had not signed yet. Victor had. A second signature line waited beneath Dante's name. Clara read the surrounding Russian carefully. Then she understood. Her stomach went cold. Dante. He came beside her. They needed your signature. For the deal, no. She pointed to the disputed verb. Then to the acknowledgement clause. The English contract makes your signature look like acceptance of the shipping agreement. The Russian wording makes it look like authorization. For the attack. For whatever happens at the end of that countdown. Dante's eyes fixed on the blank signature line. Clara continued. If your sister dies after you sign this, the Russian document can be circulated as proof that you ordered an internal execution. Victor said nothing. He did not need to. Clara finally saw the shape of it. The assassination was only half the attack. The other half was succession. Dante's enemies did not merely want someone dead. They wanted his own signature to make him responsible. 5 minutes remained. Dante looked at Victor. Who benefits? Victor smiled again. Ask your translator. No. Clara said. That part isn't in the document. She refused to invent an answer, simply because the room wanted one. Dante looked at her. Good. The single word surprised her. What? You know what you know. You know what you don't. It was the first professional compliment he had given her. Clara wished it had not mattered. It did. The guard's phone rang. He answered. Listened. Then exhaled. They have her. Public arrivals. Airport. Police around her. She's safe. Dante closed his eyes for less than a second. When he opened them, the relief was gone, replaced by purpose, and Rossi missing. 4 minutes. 30 seconds. The timer continued. Clara looked at it. If she's safe and it's still counting, then something else happens at 0. Victor's face told her she was right. Dante saw it too. What Victor remained silent. Clara went back through the Russian text, not searching for another mystery, searching for the consequence of the same one. Marked arrival. Removal. Receipt. Acknowledgement. She stopped on the final page. A sentence she had dismissed as boilerplate suddenly mattered because she now knew the English version could not be trusted. The English said, "Upon failure of acknowledgement, all temporary protections expire." The Russian said something narrower and much worse. Clara translated slowly. If acknowledgement is withheld, the witness becomes the substitute. Dante looked at her. What witness? Clara did not answer. She did not need to. Victor was staring directly at her. 3 minutes. 50 seconds. The message on his phone still glowed. The translator understood everything. Clara felt the danger become personal, with almost mathematical clarity. The contract had identified a primary target. The leak had reported her discovery. And the Russian clause contained a contingency for a witness. Here, Dante reached for her arm, then stopped before touching her. Clara. She appreciated the restraint more than she wanted to. I see it. You're leaving? No. That was not a request. Then you learned nothing in the last 15 minutes. His expression changed. Not anger. Recognition. Clara pointed at Victor's phone. If someone outside this room is watching the countdown, moving me without understanding their contingency could trigger exactly what they expect. I'm not leaving you here. I didn't ask you to. What are you asking? She held his gaze. For you to stop deciding where I go. Silence settled between them. But this one belonged to a choice. Dante took a keycard from his pocket and placed it on the table in front of her. Every secure door on this floor. Clara looked at it. You're giving me access, I'm giving you a choice. And protection, if you want it. That answer mattered more. I want protection. You have it. I choose the route. Yes. And nobody locks me in a room for my own good. Something passed through Dante's face. Perhaps she had guessed too accurately what his instincts would be. Agreed. Victor Laufe. Beautiful. You negotiate consent while your clock dies. 2 minutes. 40 seconds. Clara looked at him. He had made a mistake. Not linguistic this time. Behavioral. He had called it their clock. Until now. He had spoken as though the countdown belonged to some distant operation. Clara picked up the phone. You know what happens at 0. Victor smiled. Yes. You also know you're still in this room when it happens. His smile weakened. There. Clara leaned closer. So whatever happens at 0 is not supposed to kill everyone here. Dante understood. Then the timer triggers information. Or sends it. Clara examined the screen without touching it. A small transmission icon sat beside the countdown. She had assumed it indicated network status. Maybe it indicated a scheduled upload. Can you isolate this phone from the network without shutting it off? She asked the guard. Yes. Don't yet. Dante looked at her. Why? Because if the sender loses contact early, they'll know we interfered. They already know you translated the contract. They know I understood something. They may not know how much. 1 minute. 53 seconds. Clara looked at the signature page. The forged meaning required Dante's signature. They did not have it. unless they did not need the physical signature. "Has anyone photographed this contract tonight?" the guard answered. Security scanned it on arrival. "Where does that scan go?" "Our document server." "Who can access it?" Dante and the guard exchanged a look. "Too many people." Clara felt the final piece settle into place. The insider doesn't need Dante to sign this copy. Dante understood first. "They can add my signature to the scan and release the Russian version after the attack." Victor's composure finally cracked. He turned toward the door. The guard shoved him back. Clara pointed at the phone. "Kill the connection." The guard took it, slipped it into a signal pouch, and sealed the flap. The countdown remained visible through the clear panel. 47 seconds. Dante called his technical team. "Take the document server offline. No external access. Preserve every login from the last hour." Clara watched Victor. 30 seconds. He no longer looked smug. 20. He whispered something in Russian. Clara heard it. Dante did not. What did he say? She kept her eyes on Victor. He said, "Too late." 10 seconds. The guard's hand tightened around the sealed phone. 5. A. S. 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 Bribe. S. Bribe. Bribe. S. 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 3. 2. 1. The timer reached 0. Nothing exploded. No gunfire came through the door. For half a second, relief almost entered the room. Then, every phone belonging to Dante's men vibrated at once. The guard checked his screen. His face drained. What? He turned the phone toward Dante. A photograph had been distributed across an encrypted internal channel. Clara recognized herself. It had been taken less than an hour earlier as she entered the building. Beneath her photograph was a Russian sentence. Dante looked at her. Translate it. Clara did. The witness leaves alive. The debt doubles. The guard swore. Another message arrived. This one contained an amount. Then another. A location. Then a photograph of the building's front entrance. Clara understood before anyone explained it. The countdown had not been a bomb timer. It had been a bounty timer. At 0. Her face had gone out to people who now knew exactly where to find her. Victor leaned back in his chair. You wanted to be important. Clara met his eyes. No. She folded the contract once and slipped it beneath her arm. I wanted you to translate one word correctly. Dante looked toward the locked door. Then at the photograph on the guard's phone. Then at Clara. We have to move. She picked up the keycard he had given her. Then, we move my way. Dante nodded. No argument. The guards opened the inner service door instead of the main corridor. Clara took one step, then stopped. Victor was smiling again. Not because they were leaving, because of where they were going. She turned back. What he said, nothing. Clara studied him. The service door. His smile. The leaked security information. Someone inside Dante's organization knew roots. schedules, cameras, document, servers, and airport details. A secure route chosen from Dante's own procedures might be the most dangerous route available. Clara looked at the guard. Who knows this door exists? His answer came quietly. Everyone on the senior security team. She stepped away from it. Dante understood immediately. No established routes. Clara looked around the VIP room. One door led to the corridor. One led to the service passage. Both belonged to Dante's system. Then she noticed the catering cart parked beside the wall. Its white linen cloth reached almost to the floor. Behind it stood a narrow freight panel release used by hotel staff. Not private security. She pointed. That. The guard frowned. It goes through the kitchen. Exactly. It isn't secure. Clara looked at him. That may be why nobody sold it. Dante almost smiled. Almost. Kitchen. They moved. Clara went first. Not because Dante pushed her ahead, because she had chosen the route. Behind them, Victor called after her in Russian. You won't make it to morning. Clara did not turn around. She answered in his language. Then you have until morning to learn a better verb. The freight door closed behind her. Only when the lock caught did Clara realize Dante had followed her without once telling her where to go. The kitchen was louder than the VIP room, and safer for exactly that reason. Cooks shouted over burners. Dishwashers rolled steel racks through clouds of steam. Nobody stopped to stare at Clara because nobody knew she was supposed to be hunted. Dante's guard reached for his radio. Clara caught his wrist. No. Internal channel. Dante nodded. Use nothing Rossi could monitor. The guard put the radio away. They crossed behind the pastry station and reached the loading corridor. Clara's phone vibrated. Unknown number. A voice message waited. She played it once. Russian. Dante watched her face. What the speaker says, the contract is incomplete. Victor's bounty had already gone out. Rossi was missing. Clara could feel the old temptation to turn every new sentence into a new mystery. She refused. Same operation. She said, they want the contract back. Why? Because it proves the Russian and English versions are materially different. Dante looked at the folded pages beneath her arm. Then it goes to the police. Yes. His surprise irritated her. What I expected you to argue. I'm learning. A metal door slammed somewhere behind them. The guard drew his weapon. They exited through the staff, loading bay into rain. An unmarked sedan waited across the alley. Dante stopped. That's ours. Then we don't use it. He almost objected. Almost. They walked instead. 3 blocks later, Detective Evelyn Ward met them outside a 24-hour pharmacy with 2 plainclothes officers. Dante surrendered the contract before Clara had to ask. Ward sealed it in an evidence sleeve. Tell me what is proven. Clara appreciated the wording. The Russian version contains an operational threat. The airport device confirms the language corresponded to a real action. The countdown released a bounty on me. Someone with internal Moretti access knew the airport route. The document server. And the room. Rossi suspected. Not proven, Dante said. He disappeared the moment my sister was moved. Ward looked at him. Still not proof. Dante's jaw tightened. Clara waited. Then he nodded. Fine. Ward took them to a police-controlled office 6 blocks away. Atunci 18 M. Technicians examined the airport device. It was not a bomb. It was a transmitter. Dante stared at the report. They wanted to track where. Sofia went. Clara looked at the contract. Which means the threat was designed to make you move her. Ward asked. Move her where? Into your own security system. Dante went still. Clara continued. The fake contract frightened you. The transmitter confirmed your reaction. The leak watched your response. What do you normally do when family is threatened? Centralize security. Under whom Dante's expression changed. Rossi. There was the midpoint answer. The assassination language was real. But killing Sofia at the airport had never been the only objective. The threat was a lever. Dante was supposed to panic. Place every Moretti route and command credential under Rossi, and sign a document that could later make him look responsible for whatever violence followed. Clara looked at Ward. We stop reacting to the threat and start testing the succession mechanism. Dante understood. You want me to pretend I'm centralizing? No. I want Rossi to believe the trap is still working. Ward took over. A controlled message went through one compromised Moretti channel. Sofia secure. Dante preparing emergency transfer. Interpreter contained. Clara objected to the last word. Ward changed it. Interpreter under independent protection. 7 minutes. Later. Rossi's credential accessed the emergency succession file. Not proof that Rossi himself had touched the keyboard. But the file he opened was a petition naming Marco Rossi temporary guarantor if Dante became compromised by an unauthorized family execution. The petition had been created at 3:14 the previous afternoon. The hotel meeting had not happened yet. Clara read the timestamp twice. That's proof. Ward nodded. Dante stared at the screen. Rossi had prepared the legal consequence before the event, supposedly causing it. Chronology closed the question. At 11:43. Rossi called Dante. Where are you? Dante looked at Ward. She started recording. At headquarters. Ali. But a controlled one. Rossi exhaled. Good. Sign emergency continuity. I can still protect Sofia. Dante's face hardened. Clara saw him want to accuse. Instead, he asked, Why did you prepare my succession petition yesterday? Silence. Then Rossi said, Because Victor was unstable. You cited my refusal of a contract I had not yet seen. Another silence. Dante's voice lowered. You knew what would happen. Rossi disconnected. Ward looked at Clara. Enough for a rest. Dante stood. I'm going with you. No, Ward said. He betrayed my family. And that is why you are not going. Dante looked ready to explode. Clara said nothing. This choice had to be his. Finally, he sat. Bring him in alive. Ward left. Clara looked at Dante. That cost you. Yes. Good. He laughed without humor. You have a cruel definition of progress. Progress usually charges. Dante looked at Clara's damp blouse. Her ruined shoes. The contract ink, still faintly marking one finger. I owe you more than an apology. You owe me an apology first. Yes. She waited. At the hotel. I knew Victor was insulting you. Clara said nothing. I understood enough Russian to know what kind of insult it was. I told myself, keeping the negotiation alive mattered more. You priced my dignity. Yes. And you priced my expertise with it. Yes. No excuse. Dante looked at the table. I was wrong before you found the threat. Saving my sister did not make me wrong retroactively. Clara's anger loosened by 1 degree. Better. Only better. Do not negotiate your apology. A reluctant smile touched his mouth. Then Ward called. Rossi was not at headquarters. His office safe stood open. One item was missing, an encrypted recorder seized years earlier from Peter Volkov, a Russian intermediary whose criminal language Clara knew from Samuel Levin's research. Clara's stomach tightened. Volkov created the phrasing. Dante looked at her. Can he prove Rossi ordered it? Maybe. But Samuel can authenticate the linguistic source better than I can. Her phone rang. Samuel? Clara answered. No greeting. Only breathing. Then a Russian voice. Bring the original contract to the old freight terminal at midnight. Clara looked at the clock. 12 minutes. The voice continued. Or your professor dies correcting your mistake. A blow sounded. Samuel groaned. The call ended. Dante stood. No. Clara looked at him. He stopped himself. I mean, I do not want you going. Neither do I. He blinked. This is not a test of courage. Ward returned to the room while Clara replayed the call. The background carried a low horn. Clara almost began guessing locations from sound, then remembered the hotel. Don't chase the horn, she said. It can be played through a speaker. Ward nodded. What can we verify? Clara examined the message metadata. The call had passed through a Moretti emergency relay Rossi controlled. Same technical system. Same conspiracy. Then Samuel sent a second message from his phone. No words. A photograph of his hand. 2 fingers pressed against the cover of an old book. Volkov recorded testimony. Volume 2. Clara understood. Samuel is telling us what they need. She opened the university's digitized index. Volume 2 contained Volkov, explaining the guarantor phrase Rossi had inserted into the succession petition. Clara played the authenticated recording. Volkov's Russian voice filled the room. The guarantor is not protected by the transfer. He inherits the unfinished obligation. Dante frowned, meaning Rossi thinks becoming guarantor saves him. Volkov's own language, says the guarantor, becomes responsible for completing the elimination. Dante's eyes narrowed. Rossi is disposable. Yes. The conspiracy had 1 architect inside and 1 accomplice outside. But the accomplice had built a counter against the architect. Ward traced the recorder Rossi had taken. It had just connected to the university archive network. Not the freight terminal. The old language laboratory. Samuel's building. Now, we have a verified location. Clara said. Police moved. Dante did not. He hated every second. At 2:36. Officers entered the language laboratory. Samuel was alive. Rossi was there. So was Volkov. Volkov escaped through a service stairwell before the perimeter closed. Rossi surrendered after seeing the authenticated recording. He had finally understood that the man who helped him build the trap had planned to make him the last body in it. Samuel arrived at the police office with a bandage above one eye, and irritation stronger than his pain medication. Clara hugged him. You look terrible. So do you. Thank you. You always preferred accuracy. Dante approached. Samuel looked him over. This, the man who threw you out, Dante answered, before Clara could. Yes. Samuel nodded. At least he can identify a subject and verb. Clara almost laughed. Ward placed Rossi in an interview room. He asked to speak with Dante. Dante refused. He asked for Clara. She agreed only with Ward present. Rossi looked older behind the glass. You were supposed to find the clause. Clara sat. I know. You were selected for it. Because of Samuel's research. Yes. There was the confirmation. Victor's insults. To make you leave. And his Siberian, a phrase, when I reached the door, to make you turn around. Clara felt sick. They had engineered both humiliation and reversal. Rossi smiled faintly. Your intelligence was the easiest part to predict. No. His smile faded. You predicted what I would notice. You predicted Dante would panic. You predicted your own authority would expand. She leaned forward. What you failed to predict was what happened after people received better information. Rossi laughed. Dante Moretti does not change. The door opened. Dante stood outside. He had heard. He did not enter. Clara looked back at Rossi. He already did. Atunudoya. M. Volkov sent his counter. A fabricated audio file spread through the Moretti Council channel. Dante's voice said, Secure me first. Sophia can be handled. Afterward. Sophia heard it before Ward could contain it. She called Dante furious. That sounds exactly like you. It is my voice. Clara took the phone. Sophia. The pieces may be authentic. The sentence may not be. Technicians confirmed it within minutes. Real Dante recordings. Different dates. Different conversations. True fragments arranged into a false relationship. Same method as the contract. Volkov's final. Objective was clear. Destroy. Trust. Long enough for Rossi's succession petition to survive his arrest. The council was scheduled to meet at 8. Dante wanted to cancel it. Clara disagreed. If you hide the evidence, the fake audio wins. What do you suggest? Public verification. The next morning, the Moretti Council gathered under independent police observation. Rossi attended by secure video. Samuel sat beside Ward. Clara sat at the table, with the bilingual contract sealed in clear evidence plastic. Dante did not place her behind him. He gave her the floor. Clara began with the English clause. Failure to accept the concession will result in surrender of the protected interest. Then the Russian, the designated party, will be permanently removed. She highlighted the Siberian verb. This word exposed a threat. It did not prove the conspiracy. Next came the airport transmitter, the bounty countdown, the emergency succession petition, then the timestamp, created the day before the hotel meeting. Rossi's attorney called it contingency planning. Clara displayed the petition language. It cites Dante's refusal of this specific bilingual agreement as justification. Silence. The agreement had not been presented. Dante had not refused it. The crisis had not occurred. She looked at Rossi's image on the screen. Yet, Mr. Rossi's document already described all three. Rossi said, I knew Victor would force the issue. You knew because you designed the issue. His attorney objected. Ward placed Victor's recorded cooperation statement into evidence. Victor admitted Rossi selected Clara. He admitted the insults were instructions. He admitted Volkov supplied the regional language. Rossi's composure cracked. You think she saved you? He shouted at Dante. She made you weak. Dante stood. Clara watched him. Rossi smiled. There was the old button. humiliation, anger, violence. Dante walked toward the screen, then stopped. A day ago, he said, I would have killed you. Rossi's smile widened. Dante turned toward. Keep him alive. The smile disappeared. Dante returned to his chair. Then the chamber lights flickered. An alarm sounded. Ward's radio erupted. Volkov had entered the archive floor using a surviving contractor credential. His objective was not Dante. It was the original contract. If he destroyed the physical mismatch, Rossi's defense could attack the copies and chain of custody. Ward ordered the evidence moved. Clara looked at the sealed contract. No. Dante turned. Clara, the contract is bait now. Ward understood. She replaced the evidence case with a certified copy and moved the original into a fireproof police pouch under Clara's direction. The archive floor was evacuated. Volkov reached the evidence room and took the decoy. Police closed the exits. He called Clara from inside. You think one verb makes you powerful? No. Then come. Explain it to me. No. Samuel smiled, despite himself. Volkov's voice sharpened. I can burn the contract. Burn it. Silence. You need it. We need verified meaning. The original is already secure. Volkov realized the mistake. The document in his hand was a copy. He ran. Police caught him in the service corridor. The climax ended with Volkov alive, Rossi exposed, and the contract preserved. But Dante still owed Clara something the conspiracy could not force from him. When the council reconvened, he stood before everyone. At the Belladonna, Victor Sokolov insulted Doctor Clara Bennett because of her body. Clara became still. I heard enough to understand him. Dante did not soften it. I chose the negotiation over her dignity and told her to leave. No excuse. No threat discovered later changes the fact that I was wrong when I made that choice. He looked around the table. From today, no interpreter, advisor, employee, or contractor is removed because another party dislikes their body, age, sex, accent, disability, or appearance. Professional objections must identify professional failures. One councilman asked. And, Dr. Bennett Dante looked at Clara. She does not belong to this family. A pause. She does not belong to me. The room went quiet. If she works with us again, it will be as an independent consultant, with independent reporting authority. Any confidential foreign language document affecting security or succession requires outside verification. That was the grovel Clara needed. Not a promise to kill anyone who insulted her. A public limit on Dante's own power. After the council emptied, he approached her. I have another rule. That sounds dangerous. I ask before I protect. You can respond to immediate danger. I know. You can offer security. I know. You cannot imprison me because fear makes you persuasive. His mouth tightened. I hate how accurately you predicted that. Good. He looked at her. May I take you somewhere safe? Where? Anywhere you choose. Clara considered him. My apartment. I can have guards. Outside the block. Across the street. Half a block. Isahil. Negotiator. Interpreter. At her door. Dante stopped. He did not follow her inside. Clara. Yes, I am sorry. You said that publicly. This part is private. She waited. I wanted your intelligence, the moment it saved Sophia. Then I started wanting you. I nearly turned both into reasons I should have more authority over you. Clara's throat tightened. And now I understand wanting you gives me no authority at all. She stepped closer. Better translation. He smiled. May I kiss you? Yes. Tomorrow, he asked. Ask tomorrow. He laughed. The next afternoon, Clara returned to the council chamber to sign an independent consulting agreement. She crossed out one clause. Emergency Protective Authority. Dante read the deletion. I hate this. I know. If you are threatened, offer protection. If communications fail, I still have agency. He stared at the page for a long moment, then signed beneath her revision. No argument. Clara looked at him. That cost you too. Progress is expensive. She smiled. 3 months later. Bennett Language Risk Consulting occupied 3 rooms above a downtown law office. The Moretti organization was one client, among several. Security, intelligence, and evidence control had been separated. Emergency authority expired automatically. Foreign language governance documents required independent review. Rossi awaited trial. Victor cooperated. Volkov faced kidnapping, conspiracy, and evidence tampering charges. Justice moved slowly. Dante did not interfere. Samuel taught one afternoon seminar at Clara's office and complained that she rejected his proposed title. Words that get you kidnapped. On the wall behind Clara's desk hung a certified reproduction of page 7, the false English beside the Russian original. Beneath it, she had placed one sentence. The first translation is not sacred. Dante arrived at 6 with 2 coffees. Dinner. Clara looked at him. Is that an order? I have developed survival instincts. Try again. Doctor. Bennett. Would you have dinner with me? Yes. He smiled. As they left, they passed the framed contract. Dante stopped. I still want to burn that thing. Terrible evidence. Policy. Emotionally satisfying. Clara touched the glass. Clara had not defeated them by becoming thinner, harder, younger, or more dangerous. She had remained herself. A curvy interpreter who knew one word could matter, but only evidence could make its meaning hold. Dante extended his hand. Open palm. Waiting. No command. Clara looked at it. Then at him. You remember what Victor said, yes? Get this fat translator out. Dante's face tightened. I remember what I did. Good. He looked surprised. Good correction matters only if we preserve what was wrong. Dante nodded. No defense. Clara placed her hand in his. His fingers closed only after she chose. They walked toward the elevator. The framed contract remained behind them. No longer a weapon, and no longer merely evidence. It had become a warning. Power did not get to decide what words meant, because power disliked the translation. And the world had not made Clara Bennett valuable when it finally noticed her. It had merely corrected its translation.